Hi guys, sorry it's been a while since I've done any videos at all. I've been extremely busy, being backwards and forwards and doing things at the allotment, which needs a lot of work, as I've explained before. So I'm not really making excuses. So, you know, my original plan was to be more proactive and do more videos. But like I say, I'm not doing it for subscriptions or anything like that. Subscriptions doesn't really bother me because I'm not looking for like thousands of subscriptions, or I'm not asking for sponsors or any money from YouTube if I get to 1 million. None of that bothers me. I'm not doing it for profit. I'm here to do like mini videos to help you guys out. I promise you there will be more content available in the next coming months, but like I say, I've been extremely busy. I've had family members not very well, being rushed to hospital, etc. I myself have been in hospital as well due to an injury, and so it's been a really hectic month or two. So I must apologise to anybody who wants to see my videos. So it's a personal apology to you guys. I will try and put some content up as soon as I can. But today, obviously, I'm at our allotment. Plan to do a few things today, but unfortunately the weather has had other plans. And it's been absolutely throwing it down since at least 8:30 this morning. So I thought, well, can't really do any bushcrafty kind of wild campy kind of videos today, but I can do a quick video on the firebox that I use. I've had this for a few years now. It used to be my go-to means of making fire outdoors. Okay, now I'm not going to go into which is the firebox XL extra large. It's the biggest one they do. I'm not going to go into all the specs and show you how it folds up and things like that. That's not what the video is about. There is hundreds and hundreds of videos out there showing the bushbox. Sorry, not bushbox, XL. But this is it anyway. As it's all black because I've used it constantly, mainly over the winter. Now, I can tell you about the pros and cons about having these stoves. Obviously the pros probably outweighs the negative things about it, but the pros is obviously it folds up, as you've seen on YouTube from other channels. It folds up obviously so you can slide it down your pack, put it in a pouch or something, or even on your belt in a utility pouch or something like that, so it folds flat. Pretty much does the same job as a lot of the stoves that obviously fold up, which comes in handy. I used to use the stoves that actually slot together, so it comes in bits, like normally 3 or 4 bits that you slot together, and then you build your fire that way. But I prefer the stove that actually fold up. So if it's nasty weather outside, you could just put your tarp up, get your firebox out, or bush box, whatever you've got, or if you've got one of the cheap ones, that'll do fine, and away you go. Put your dry fuel in, tinder in, and you've got yourself a fire. Don't necessarily like the ones that slot together. If it works for you, that's fine, but for me, it's too much time wasting involved. You know, and if you've got a brain like mine, I'm trying to figure out which side goes where, and then all the time you're doing that, I'm getting cold, I'm getting wet and hungry, whatever. So I prefer the ones like this, the firebox. So just get it out of the pouch, unfold it, job is good. Which is the pro. The negative things about these stoves, just stoke the fire up. is they take a lot of fuel. So that's one negative about this firebox. I'm very experienced with this stove. I've been used it for a good few years now. Used it in all weathers, different kinds of wood. I've cooked on it many times. So I like to think I'm experienced, so I know what I'm talking about. Now, obviously, with a lot of fireboxes and similar stoves, there's obviously has its pros and cons. Obviously, the pros is what I've just mentioned. Obviously, it falls flat. But I think the main thing for me is the fuel consumption. These stoves take a lot of fuel. So if you're using this as a primary heat source in the outdoors for wild camping, you better be prepared to have a lot of firewood, especially in winter, if you want it through the night, because these stoves take a hell of a lot of fuel. And if you neglect the stove for 5 minutes or more, it will burn out, and if you haven't got any embers, then you'll have to start from scratch and relight it, which brings me to my next negative: stove. Okay, so putting the camera down now, you can see a nice bed of embers. Okay, every person knows, any outdoorsman knows that as long as you've got a nice bed of embers on your fire or stove or whatever you're using, you'll always get a fire going. Okay, as long as you've got the solid wood fuel to put on the fire, just give it a quick blow and you've got a flame. If you let the fire die out too long, and to a point where you've not got any embers, you have to start from scratch. Unless you can find an ember amongst the fire, and you can use that, blow on the char, and relight the fire that way, which again I've done many times. But these boxes, back to the firebox and ones that's similar. Okay, if you look down there, well, it's glowing. I like it. Another thing I like it is because this mouth here, because we're coming up to Halloween as well, it's like a scary face when you're at night time. Okay, you can see the glow in the embers at the bottom, right in the bottom feed tunnel there. Okay, now to say I've had this fire going for maybe, I don't know, maybe 1.5 hours, there's hardly any embers in there at all. So that basically tells you how fire hungry it is. Now, the reason for that, it's not because I'm not building my embers up. The reason for that is that boxes like this comes with an ash pan. So obviously that collects the ash that comes obviously from the firebox, so you're not getting ash all over the floor and etc. Okay. Now the problem with that, with the firebox, is that you've got these air holes, these air vents at the bottom, right at the bottom, and that allows the ash, once it's burnt down, to fall through these gaps onto the ash pan, which in turn obviously cools down rapidly and then goes out and then obviously turns to ash. So that's how an ember works. But this burns through fuel so much, and the gaps at the bottom are so large that it's very hard to collect that ember. Okay, you would have to put a very large quantity of solid fuel in here to collect the embers. Unless you've brought some coal with you and put the coal with you, then that's fine, put the coal in. But if you're out in the middle of the woods and you're just using solid wood fuel, then it's a bit of a, I would say, inconvenience, if that's the word. Now, I've not put any wood on this fire since I've been talking to you guys, which is coming up to nearly 10 minutes now. Now look how quickly the embers are falling through that gap at the bottom where the ash pan is collecting the ash. I'm going to put this stick in now. so that it can light this fire. This is pine, so I must apologise because this is this makes a rather loud bang, and obviously because I'm sitting in this place like a conservatory at the allotment, it can produce a very loud echo, a bit like when you're in a cave. So if you hear crackling and loud popping sounds, obviously that's coming from the firebox here. Okay, see, so that's caught light now. I'm going to put some more pine in. You'll probably hear some popping, crackling sounds in a minute. Some popping sounds. So put that in. So yeah, that's the only downside to the firebox. There's lots of other fireboxes or some similar, or some cheap ones on Amazon. That the gaps at the bottom are only very minimal, and the holes, the air vents are very small. They're massive. The holes are, in my opinion, very, very big for what it needs to be. Very hard to focus. At the bottom. Using my phone, you probably can't get that. But yeah, can't really get that. I'll probably add it to this video anyway, once all the wood's burned down on the size of the holes. And that for me is a bit of a bad thing really, because you don't want your wood to burn that quick. There is enough air vents in here all the way around to produce enough oxygen to keep the wood burning for. So you don't really need big holes, you know, about that big in the bottom of the firebox for the ash to go through, because that in turn is not really going to build your embers up very well. I know why they've done it, obviously to collect the ash so it doesn't go on the floor, maybe to produce more oxygen, but you don't really need that because there's enough holes in the firebox to produce that oxygen, especially if the wind's blowing. But so yeah, that's my number one complaint of the firebox, is the bottom, where the ash pan is. The holes are just far too big, way too big, so you're not building your embers up. Try it. So as you can see there, you can still see some embers, but within, say, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, that can easily burn out. And it doesn't matter how much wood I put in this firebox to try and build my embers up, it will still drop through the gaps. And as soon as it hit that ash plate there, obviously the embers are going to go out, and then that's it. So to say I've had this hour and a half, there is no embers on there whatsoever, and it burns through wood very, very good, far too quickly, which is a good thing if you're cooking. But if you're using this as a primary heat source in the outdoors, you're wild camping or bushcrafting or whatever, then it's a bit of a massive big deal. But since a lot of places where we can't have wildfires and you want to keep your fire off the ground, obviously a lot of times we've got no choice but to use things like this firebox. But I suppose that's the only negativity, the negative thing, sorry, I say about this stove. Apart from that, it's a good few years. I do try and look after it, so once it's all cooled down, I try and use like vegetable oil, like cooking oil, to oil these joints here. And now and again give it that clean, but I don't like my things sparkly clean, really, really shiny. I like my pots and pans and fires to have to be a bit tarnished. A, it's good for stealth, and B, I think once you've got that primer on there, it heats things up a hell of a lot quicker than a good shiny new pot would. Not against anybody that likes their things nice and shiny, but for me, being a stealth camper, low profile at times when I want to be left alone, it's a bad thing. You know, I don't want people from a distance, especially if the sun's shining, to the sun reflecting off my pots or my stove or things like that. You know, like a mirror, giving my location away. So yeah, I'm rabbit on a bit, like I do on most of my videos, but I will try my very best to do other content on this channel. I just wanted to share that information with you, because I've not really come across any videos about the firebox or similar about the holes at the bottom of the firebox are too big, so you're not obviously not building your embers up. I've not really come across anybody else that's mentioned that, and to me obviously it's a big deal. So if you've got a firebox, obviously leave your comments down below and just let me know if you feel the same, or if you've got your own channel. I'd like to see how you combat this, or if you've modified it in any way at all. So yeah, that's probably about it for this video. And like I say, I will try my very, very best to put additional content on there, but it's purely for, it could be like little chats on mental health and wild camping and you know, going back to basics. So my channel, again, it's very, very, very basic. It's not advanced bushcrafting or anything like that. It's for people that doesn't know where to turn or where to start or what to buy and things. So it's going to be a channel about reviews and things like that, which I have done. I've probably done more reviews than I have anything related to bushcraft or wild camping, to be honest with you. But yeah, so I do apologise. But yeah, I'm going to wrap that up now and put some more sticks in my... so let me know what you think. Obviously, again, no embers at all. So I need to build my embers up at the bottom to keep this fire going, so I can make some dinner in a bit. So I'm going to leave it there, and I will try my best for additional content for this channel. So happy camping, and see you in a bit.